of Eros. And if you have any questions, you can ask them in the chat and we will discuss them live. So starting off today, we are going to talk about an interesting article that just came out this in the last few weeks. Sharing it to all of you. The Ocean Cleanup and AWS joins forces to accelerate clean plastic removal using AI. So this was a really interesting article that came out that led us to look deeper into what this actually is talking about. And so now I'll show you the full program of what this is. So the largest cleanup in history. So this is a really interesting new initiative, or it's actually been around for a while. This article that just came out was recent, but it's here to talk about this process of how they're cleaning up plastic in the ocean and the way that that relates really well to a lot of the concepts that we talk about with erotic justice. So with that, I want to hand it over to Eli and Aubrey.
Hi. Hello, friends, streamers, and Zoomers. Okay, so let's see. I picked this one because I cry when I see these Instagram videos of this ocean cleanup page, this company, and I've been, I think, following them there's them, and then there's this other like river cleaning group that's similar that posts videos, and I follow them too, and I like cry every time I see their page, and I'm just like, oh my God, thank God there's people out in the world just totally dedicated to this. Like I'm doing a thing over here. I'm working on, the root of a lot of the issues in the world, being cut off from your eros. I'm over here working at this. Thank God you're over there working at that because we need it. And so I always cry. And so when I saw that there was some recent news on this one, I wanted to talk about this one because, our media is too busy creating, fomenting discord among the masses to, report on this stuff very often. And it's like, there's actually a lot of this kind of thing going on. And so that's one is I feel like I wanted to put some good news things into today's talk because I think it's really important to know how much good is happening in the world also.
You wanted to center it?
Center it?
Isn't that what they say? We're centering restoration.
Oh, yeah. I wanted to actually presence it.
Presence it, yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But what this specifically, what I always think of related to Eros when I see these ocean and river cleanup videos and these groups that are doing great work is erotic justice. I think about Nicole's book on erotic justice and the sutras on erotic justice, because they talk a lot about people being able to, like, when you have access to Eros, like when you have access to your like when you're in alignment with your own soul and your own being, some part of your genius wakes up. And there's actually a lot of people in the world who have the genius resources to come up with brilliant solutions to all of the things that all of us are all worried about all the time. And there are a lot of those solutions are already being implemented, like this one. And we don't hear about it very much, but a lot more brilliance and genius could be evoked from people, were people to be able to get reconnected to their own soul, their own genius, their own calling, like what unique piece of the puzzle they're here to bring, their gift. And so when I think about the inventor of this technology that they use, that's what I think of, like there's actually so much of that. There's so much of that brilliance in the world just waiting to be brought out. If we can have it be that people can reconnect to that part of themselves. So to me, I see this and I think of genius.
I love the like AI creeping into the like the nonprofit and doing things for good sector. Like it's sort of like every time there's a new technology, like this could be a great weapon or like a great tool for healing. And you never quite know when they're both going to come out. And it's just such a great testament to the power of it, like the sort of neutral power of it, where it's like I've heard that, one of the best uses of AI is going to be in health prediction, like figuring out based on your chart or whatever, your heartbeat, or are are you going to have a heart attack in 3 minutes and 59 seconds or in 10 years, like figuring that stuff out. And then, you know, uh, like the using it to do the most efficient, best ocean cleanup possible, right? And then there's also Dharma Pala, which is our initiative using AI to help people in who are in prison basically get access to top-notch legal services through artificial intelligence. Like there's just so many uses of it that are coming out, and to have it show up in this way, I'm really glad that you brought this one up.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of what I think it's it might be this sutra that's in volume 5, which our friends Courtney and Hannah recently finished editing, and so it is on its way to coming out pretty soon. But I think it's the sutra in there called "Meet in the Reality We Can All Sense." And I think it's that one. I mean, a number of them go into. It's like when you restore Eros into a person's ecosystem and the ecosystem in all the different ways that looks like, people's genius is able to naturally emerge. And then, in our language and stuff a lot in this community, we talk about the grid in different ways. I talk about it in the women's movement, like one woman lighting up another woman, where she's lit up from the inside out one at a time until there's like a whole grid of woman connection through the planet. And, we talk a lot about that with orgasmic meditation. It's like a mycelium network where the whole web feels connected and lit up. And I feel like when it's like get access to Eros, genius emerges, something pops open, a light turns on, and you can sense your place in that grid and your purpose and your calling. And then that takes care of a whole other level of tumescence that you might have in your life, and so, yeah, erotic justice, check it out.
Love that.
Beautiful commentary. Love that, guys. Okay,
Today
so
on a soft Eros revolution.
yes. So next up, what we're going to talk about is a new trending topic that's been going on for a few weeks, but it just keeps rolling on social. And so we wanted to share just a few clips, not too much in depth on like the topics themselves. They'll go into that afterwards, but more just to give you guys a sense of this interview, which was with Hunter Biden, that started making its way around the internet a few weeks ago, and just keeps kind of not going away. And so we were looking at it this week and we're like, oh, that is a fantastic topic to begin to talk about, because why is that? Why is this going so viral?
Not only does it not go away, but it's like the lore just keeps deepening, like more videos come out somehow about it. And it's doing that thing that something does on the internet when it's like kind of in the vein of something.
So here we'll just do 2 short clips just to give you guys a flavor if you haven't seen it. This was a commentary from Dave Rubin talking about it.
I'm off the grid for August, but something actually super interesting happened, and I can't wait to hear about it when I get back in September.
In-N-Out is fine. You don't tip at an In-N-Out.
I do.
What, you tip at an In-N-Out?
Yeah, they have to wear those hats. You know what that feels like?
Did you, serious conversation? I met somebody that is in the, owns fast food franchises. His McDonald's employs 55 people, okay? He went all AI.
Oh,
Okay,
man.
it's about a $2 million investment per McDonald's. Okay, he only employs 5 people now,
Oh.
so his margins go up by like 27%.
That was the first one, and then we'll just do a little bit of the second one.
I watched the Hunter Biden interview, and the only conclusion that I came to is that I want to hang out with him so bad. He seems like a guy that I would get along very well with. He said, George Clooney, fuck you, Jake Tapper, nobody watches your show anymore. And by the way, Stephen Miller, you're a fucking weirdo. Based. I'm glad he talked his shit, because I would have been running my mouth like back in August, to be honest. And I know that there's a lot of people that are saying like, no, a lot of Joe's problems were because of Hunter, like he needs to go away. I understand what you're saying, but like Joe has stuck by his side through everything, and Joe's proud of him for getting clean, and like I think we should just respect that. Y'all
Take it away.
It's off and running. It is off and running.
Well, I'll just tell you guys. So I had trouble picking. There were a few different videos I found that I really liked that I had been sending Maya like all week. Because I feel like Hunter Biden's having a moment. And so there's this other ones too, because he talks about his addiction. And he talks about it the way a true addict who has gotten clean will talk about their deep relationship with their, past drug of choice or whatever. And there's like you only understand it if you've been addicted to something. He's like, it was true. Like the way he doesn't say these words, but the way he talks about it is like, it was the love of my life, and it's just so real, and so it's like, regardless of your politics or whatever. And I thought that I really liked that first one a lot too, because it was actually on Dave Rubin's page, and Dave Rubin is actually a pretty interesting person. He's right-wing for sure. He's also gay. So I like him a lot because that is interesting to me. So I just felt a kinship, I think, with Hunter Biden, because he was so canceled. I mean, he was beyond canceled. Like, he was so canceled. His dad was like half canceled because of him, and he was the president. You know what I mean? I mean, he was like, it was bad. It was really bad. But he has that he has that something happened in his life that got him clean from drugs. Like, he hit some kind of bottom in all of that, and he is not on drugs now.
Right.
And there's a potency to when someone's in that place in life where you don't have shame because you were genuinely delivered from like one world into another, and you're just like kind of new inside of it. And then he also was super canceled, and it's similar. It's kind of like, I was in this world of the upper echelon world. I fell from grace so far, and now I'm down here in the underbelly of things and have literally nothing to lose. And so there's a certain potency and sort of a sage and a unfiltered something, that comes out in that place. And I think it's important to like, this type of seeing that come through a person is not available to you if you are obsessed with sides.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's a part of it too. So there's like an addiction aspect, and there's like the gifts that you get post cancellation. And there's also like, who cares what your politics are? Are you clear enough in your own mind and your own sensing of things to tune in when something is coming through someone, regardless of where they fall on the like spectrum of whatever. So I was like, let's talk about Hunter Biden. Everybody was like, all right, we'll go along with your idea.
It's another chalk one up on the side of cancellation can create people who are now kind of untouchable in a certain way. And that goes both ways, where it's like, on the one hand, like no one, like at the bottom, like no one wants to be near you or whatever. But all of a sudden, if you start talking, these people they don't have, like you said, they don't have anything to lose. They don't need your approval. They already lost your approval, right? They're already not supposed to have it. So they can just actually afford to tell the truth. And so you get people like Kanye or Marilyn Manson or, like various people who have, been
Louis
cut.
C.K. Louis C.K. is a good
Louis
one.
C.K., right? Which, like, if you do that to a comedian, all you're giving them is more material, you know,
Right?
like
You're
for
really.
real, and then and the thing that people don't seem to understand, excuse me, I had a lot of pistachio nuts earlier, is that when you take someone down, and the same thing's going to happen with the astronomer people, if they ever make it out of the hole, the same thing's going to happen with them. They're going to have a talk show, and everyone's going to listen to them because they're going to have wisdom. They're actually going to have some wisdom from having fallen that far. And and people don't get that we can't relate to people who seem perfect. That's not relatable to people. What's relatable is people who are open about their flaws. That, it's we can't be attracted or magnetized to something that we're not that we can't relate to as human beings. It's a fundamental law of being human. And so I think I'm very excited to see what he does with this because, man, he and everyone knows who he is. Like it's such a catch-22 for the culture, right? Because you cancel someone that hard and everyone knows everything, right? Everyone, it's on everyone's lips. And then it's like, oh wait, but now what is he saying? And now he's got this audience, and it's like, oh, but you guys did that to yourselves. Like you don't realize you give someone that much power.
Totally. Yeah. Something, yeah, maybe we can go into kind of the mechanics of being canceled, like what it's like when you're like, the thing I want to say is one of the things that struck me is so in that video where he's talking about the McDonald's replacing all the employees with AI and everything, he goes on to discuss some, he runs up the numbers in his mind and talks about how many jobs will be kaput. And then just in that one franchise, in that one arena. And then he goes on to have some more thoughts about AI and where it's headed. And then some even further ones. And the whole time he's talking, you just kind of feel like you're sitting with your friends, like you're sitting with your friend, listening to them like jam and put the pieces together. That's what's different about it. Like a lot of what you're hearing people saying on social media, on the news, in interviews all the time is you're hearing like kind of thoughts that they've cobbled together. They're not alive in the moment necessarily.
Mm-hmm.
And there's something in the way that he's putting it together. It's like he's tracking something. This to me is a signifier of a person who's connected to Eros in some way.
Mm.
It's less about like always having a perfectly preformed thing or an exact way that you want to talk about something, and it's more an ability to like feel for something in the moment, or it's the combination of the two. But it's like you're like a bloodhound for the feeling of something, and you can grab onto that, track it, and then figure out how to put words to it because you have less attention on yourself and how you look because you were fucking canceled. So you don't really care that much. Something like that. Like that's the best way I could put words to it. But I have a feeling you have I bet you have some good things to say about the state of being canceled, Eli.
I just think it's one of those things where like it's the what do I want to say, like the it's become normalized. It's to be marginalized in that way is now normal. And um because the channels of media and ways that you can get your voice out are so democratized now, there really isn't anything stopping anybody from getting a platform and starting to speak again. Like it really isn't. Like you've got TikTok, you've got, if you have something, if what you're saying is interesting, people will hear about it and it will happen. I do think the part that we're missing is, in some cases, not all, but in some cases, is there's two sides to it. One is there's the actual spiritual journey of cancellation. What was it actually meant to take from you? And I think that you're meant to let go of. And that's kind of what we're talking about. Like when you're saying the piece about addiction and like,
Yeah.
like the truly humiliating thing that's meant to happen, right? In some way. But that has the gold on the other side where you're like, oh my God, like my position, my status, my reputation, all gone, and then you kind of realize when you're down there, you're like, this actually isn't that bad. Like, oh my God, this actually, all those things were burdening me, and that there's actually something down here that no one can take, no one can ever take. And so that's all I'm gonna lead with from now on is that. And there's that part of it. And then there's also the part where I think you also, because you can see, that's what happens, right? You're scared of the dark, you get pulled down into the dark, and then you're thrashing around for a little while. But eventually, if you actually stop thrashing, your eyes can adjust and you start to be able to see, which has two effects. One, like I said, it creates a kind of self-knowledge about what cannot be taken from you,
Mm.
and what's really important. And then the other thing I think it does is it gives you a true backbone. It has you actually know, because you can see down there what's really me and what's not. And so then when you come back up, it's like you actually can stand up in all the places that you weren't able to before. And because you've been able to actually look at all of it unflinchingly.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, this is why you brought up the Coldplay astronomer
Yeah.
CEO situation, because this takes me back to that conversation where you talked about people being jealous of that level of
Yes.
a
Fall.
descent. Yeah.
Yeah. Descent. Yeah.
And that's if you can have that kind of fall, stand up, move through the layers of shame that want to keep you down, that everyone like I know from experience, like a lot of things and people are willing to reinforce that you should stay the fuck down.
Mm-hmm.
Like eternally, I guess. I don't even know what it would be because we didn't.
Right.
But like there's just such a beauty to like letting go of all of the terror around. Like in the back of my mind, I always thought I wouldn't be able to survive if the world didn't think I was like at least okay, if they thought I was bad or something, or misunderstood me, or didn't know that my intentions were
you guys,
pure.
women get your desire. I mean, that's a whole underworld, reckoning experience,
Yeah. I was just thinking too, it's funny because like what I feel, yeah. I mean, I can't really broadly say this, but I was just remembering his if someone can find these pictures, I think there's censored ones. The ones I saw were censored, but there are these pictures of Hunter Biden in like a sensory deprivation tank that I think he did like selfies of himself in a sensory deprivation tank smoking his drug of choice. Hisham has hipped me up to the things I can and can't say on live stream last week. I was cussing up a storm last week, so I'm trying to be a little more. But seriously, he's in pure fucking bliss. Pure bliss. And I was like, oh my God. Like this is like so much that he took a picture of himself. That's good. But it's like I have these pictures of years and years ago in my early 20s where I was like on different things at parties and stuff, and the pictures are terrible, but like the reason we took them is because we felt
Yeah.
so profoundly good. Like
Yeah.
pure fucking bliss, and I there's some connection there too, where it's like like he was seen in those pictures, like you're seeing someone in a place you never get to see anyone.
Mm-hmm.
You never get to see anyone in that pocket of human existence ever. It's so potent.
Yeah, no, it's true.
Whoever,
It's
like,
true.
it's your bliss. That's what that's what his bliss
Right.
looked like in that moment, and it's so potent that like you can hardly look at it.
Well, and I think that's why, again, we're in the private moments,
Yeah,
astronomer, private
right.
moment. Hunter Biden
Exactly.
in the crack, in the thing,
Yeah,
or like even, um, celebrity sex tape revealed. Like
totally.
all of these things that
Text messages with your 20-year-old mistress,
yeah, right,
like,
right, all of it.
yeah.
Everyone wants to nibble on it.
Diddy's whole obsession with, you know, watching people do things.
Everybody wants in.
Yeah.
Right? There's
That
a reason that stuff goes in the tabloids because people don't,
they
someone's like,
want in.
they
That
want
was
in, they
exact
want
that's
in,
it.
right?
Yeah.
Like, well, do you want to see it or do you not want to see it? No, I want to see it.
Right? Right? That is crazy because that just had me think of our whole experience with being canceled and, our takedown and everything from a new angle that I haven't quite thought of it before, where I was like, what would our version of that be? And then I was kind of like, oh, it's like everyone who ever participated in One Taste and in like and in our classes and everything. Because I've known for a long time, like there's when there's a number of it's difficult for some people to reconcile who they were then with who they are now for various reasons. And so our takedown has a lot to do with like people's shame about who they were then and just wanting to bury all of it and everything to do with it and anyone who knew who they were then, like who saw them in their most private moments of pure, beautiful, radiant fucking opening.
Yep.
Because anybody who saw that knows the truth of who they are. Like it was just so present in the room. Incontrovertible. And so they all have to die. All those people have to be buried because otherwise you can't ensure that that the secret of your beauty, your absolute beauty won't come out.
Right.
Because that version of you, or not version, but like who that essence is, doesn't, for whatever reason, it didn't make it into the life you're living now.
Right.
And so it's irreconcilable to you. So you're like, bury that body, but it's like burying your own fucking body.
Right.
Oh, I'm
Exactly.
I'm swearing again. Hisham.
You're doing a great job swearing. It's, I'm writing this book and one of the chapters I've decided is going to be called, burying the erotic body.
Oh my God.
Because
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, because I have a history of this. I mean, not me. Well, actually, no, I have my own story of this. I actually have my own story, but I've been in various relationships where that's happened in one way or another from all these different angles, and have watched it, in other people, and I've had one experience of watching it in my own mind. I'll just say really quickly, I'll just really quick relate that, which is I was a teenager in this place, like a camp where there was a bunch of people and 100 people or something, and everyone's working on things, and it's sort of like a co-op kind of thing. And there was this woman who was probably in her 50s or something like that, and she was just really cool. And we had just like, I was probably, like I said, like 15 or something. We had this like really cool connection, just like we just vibed. And so like she would tell me her stories and yada yada. And at some point, I can't remember exactly what the context was, but I spoke in a way which had it sound like she was like hitting on me. And I ended up getting her in a lot of trouble. But there was just some way that like I was embarrassed about how connected I felt to her or something. Like there was something that happened in me in that moment and it just kind of slipped out. And it was really hard to take back. And I apologize. I mean, like, and I tried to take it back, but like it was difficult to roll it back after you say that. And she was like, I want nothing to do with you. Like, you threw me under the bus. Like, that's crap. And I was like, you're right. It is. I have no idea what to do now. I'm really sorry about that. Um, but I witnessed in a split second how that can happen.
Mm.
And so I think it's a really interesting phenomenon that we need to normalize talking about. We need to normalize, whoops, we need to normalize the discovery of a part of the psyche that we didn't know existed, that was latent, that wanted to avoid some kind of what it may have perceived as fault or problematicness or shame or like whatever it is. Like we need to and have created sort of a dynamic or told a story to somebody that was untrue. And then to go back, we need to normalize undoing harm told in stories that did not actually happen.
Mm.
Like me and this woman,
Yeah.
like where I probably waited too long to go and talk to her and be like, I'm sorry, or to go to the authorities there and be like, I made it up. Like I didn't mean it like that. I don't know what I was thinking. I was afraid of being, of upsetting someone or being, being looked at weirdly,
Mm.
which is the truth. And I wish that there had been someone in that scene who could have known what had happened and could have been like, it's okay that you messed up, because then I'm dealing with now looking at how dumb I think I look, or, I have a whole nother set of shaming things to deal with that I'm doing to myself. You know what I'm saying? So like,
Mm.
there's got to be something we build into the culture where if we just blurt something out or make a mistake, that there's some way to wind that back.
Yeah. Yeah, I really like that. Number one would be like, let's halt this weird thing that's happening where the justice system is backing people's random like resentments. Wind that on back. and then I feel like it's not so terrifying to maybe like circle back and own something. It's like if 80 people and various organizations and whatever all hop on your ride about
Right.
something that you're saying and add a ton of fuel to the fire, it's pretty much impossible then for you to circle back and do that. It's almost impossible.
Yeah. Yep.
So it's definitely an interesting conundrum, how to
Yeah.
introduce being able to go back and do that with the climate of everything being how it is now.
Yeah.
Not impossible. Pretty
Yeah.
sure this is a genius emergence thing in the Eros community. So if anyone out there has any ideas on this one, let us know.
Beautiful, beautiful topic. We could go on and on for several episodes on the topic of cancellation.
We sure could.
And we really should. Up next, we're going to talk about another very cool new topic that came up in a New York Times article and also a post that came up, which is this.
When you play it, maybe pause on each one because it goes really fast through them.
Yeah, I'll read them too. So here we go. In East Texas, a community of 11 women built a village to grow old together. So they call it the Bird's Nest, a cluster of tiny homes surrounded by gardens, dogs, and twinkle lights. You get to see the little community here,
It's cute.
all their cute little houses.
So cute.
Most of the women are single, retired, and in their 60s to 80s. Instead of living alone, they choose to live with each other. Here, they share meals, care for one another after surgeries, and even enforce their golden rule, no drama.
Good luck.
Enforce it.
Right? Enforce.
I'm enforcing no drama.
Try it.
Financial independence mattered too. Many women had modest retirements, but pooling resources made this life possible. As one resident put it, I never saw these people before in my life, and now I can't imagine them not being here every day. The birds.
That's how I feel about you guys.
Yeah, that's how I feel too. The bird's nest shows what's possible when we choose community over isolation.
Oh my God, look at this cute dog.
Yeah. So that was this article. We'll also post it, the full New York Times article in the chat that talked about this community, but we wanted to bring this up as I think even still, when we first started living in community, it was exceptionally weird. Now it is much less weird, but still just quite a fringy experience. And so talking about what the erotic point of view is on community and community living together.
Yeah. Yeah, there's actually a lot of stories like that of people. It's usually either women, older women, or it's like families. More often it's like older women friends, building a little tiny village together somewhere. This has been happening maybe 15 years. I've been reading little articles like that pop up here and there, that I just love. And then, yeah, families do this too, and pool resources and help look after each other's children and stuff like that. And I love it. Like, I love that there's these signs. I'm a big fan of living in community, living with people. I think for as difficult as it can be and as many things as it brings up, I think that's actually a benefit.
Which it is, and it does.
It is, and it does, and that's a benefit. But let's just say, for as much challenge as it can be, it's beyond worth it, and it is kind of a natural, I think, byproduct of reconnecting with your body, with Eros. I feel like the world has gotten good at pretending it can survive on a lot less connection than it actually can.
That's good.
And one of the things that happens with Eros, like starting an orgasmic meditation practice, or working with these philosophies, like something starts to open up in you, and you can actually sense the hunger that you have for connection more. So it's not that it wasn't there before, it's that Eros helps you actually honestly sense how deep that hunger is. And then automatically the mind starts working for you, and it's like, well, how would we rearrange our life a little bit to prioritize connection? And this is kind of how it happened for me, because my default is much more like introvert, do it alone, mostly be alone. That's like my default setting, and yet my life is like the exact opposite of that, and has been for 20 years or something. And so that was how it kind of happened. It was like the Eros turned on in my body. I connected to how hungry I actually was for connection. When I'm actually honest, it's a lot. It's like lifeblood. It's like blood flow through my life, and I need it, And so I started to naturally notice my desire wanting to arrange my life differently to prioritize that. And so I think that it's a natural way of being. And yet it's, as many natural things in the world get cast as unnatural.
Right.
And so, like, for example, we just signed a lease on a place here in Harlem not that long ago. And we have like a great history. Our crew here has a great history with a number of landlords in the area that people can call and stuff like that. And we've like good credit and everything. And so it's not difficult to get a place, but there's always the conversation of like, yes, we are adults of these ages who will be living together.
Right.
Why, you say? Like,
we are friends.
We are friends. Like, will we be partying? Are we weird? Well, we're kind of weird. We definitely don't party. We go to bed early. We get up early. We do have large groups over for dinner at times, but then they leave by 8 and we go to bed, like it's like we're like actually really desirable neighbors and people to have living in your house, as a landlord. But it's difficult to explain that because they have no context. Even in a city like this, where I feel like actually there's a lot of different kinds of people and living arrangements and everything, it still is always a conversation.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah, but we're they luck out when they get us.
They luck out. We leave the place better than we found it. We're like very desirable to have.
Very desirable tenants. It's true.
What are your thoughts on community, Eli?
I love what do you mean what are my thoughts? I've been giving my thoughts. What are your thoughts?
I'm happy to share
You did
my
not
thoughts.
give your thoughts. I gave all of my thoughts. You gave none of your thoughts.
Oh, well, I mean, there's a lot of you covered so much of the ground. I mean, here's a something. So I read that and I'm like, great that you guys want to live in community. And then they're like, no drama. I'm like, is this your first time?
Right.
Like that's kind of like, okay, wait, let me get this straight. You're gonna have 10 women living in tiny homes who are all sharing resources and no drama. Okay. Like, okay, cool. That's a great rule to have. It's a nice rule. It's like, telling a cat like no licking. Like it's gonna happen. I don't know what that even means. Because like that's sort of I thought that was the funny part about it when I first read it is the no drama thing. It's like, what do you think you're living in community for? Like that's literally the purpose of living, like so I mean, good luck. It's like, was it the bird's nest? Maybe it's the call it the bird's nest or like, under the carpet
Under the
or
rug.
something like that, where it's like, I was a dumb joke, but like where you're just gonna drive everything underground, like I get the no drama part, but like, what does that really mean? What's that code? Because with dudes, right, on like dating profiles, no drama means like, feelings don't bother me,
Right, right.
or like you got something, you got uh you got something involuntary to talk about. You're gonna play a game with me. You're gonna get a little funny with me about something like smash you, and so I kind of read that as like, like what would our advertisement be for 8 women living together in tiny houses? Like what would our tagline be?
Ours specifically. So we have all of the tools that we have.
Yeah, but like imagine we have a New York Times article. Imagine you, Maya, and several others have tiny
Yeah.
tiny houses, and theirs is "Welcome to the Bird's Nest, no drama," and yours is "Welcome to the Bird's Nest."
Um, mm,
Perhaps not safe for Eros revolution, but you could.
well, I don't know. It's hard for me to separate it from actually how we get perceived because that's kind of what we're doing. And so I'm like, your thoughts are making me think about how long will it be until the neighboring areas of this East Texas bird's nest start calling them a cult?
Yeah, well, that was of course that was on my mind too, right? Of like how long? How long?
This is how if you want no drama, then you know what you're going to need to do is have more connection.
Right.
And if you're going to have more connection, you're probably going to need like meetings where you're going to sit in some kind of a circle and you're going to talk about your fucking feelings quite a bit.
Right.
Then you're
No,
probably
Aubrey,
going to
I had to
naturally
pay rent.
develop
You
some
understand,
methods
Aubrey.
of restoring connection.
My neighbor lent me money for rent, which means I had to live there.
Exactly.
I didn't know where else to go. I mean, I was paying rent,
Exactly.
but I couldn't afford, I couldn't afford it. And this person said this, but then they introduced a rule at our monthly meeting. And I thought to myself, I am scared that if I don't listen to their rule of no playing miniature golf after 8 p.m. outside of my tiny house, that they wouldn't give me rent money. And then they asked me if I would bring their mail in one day, and I did it because I was so scared. I was so scared that I
So
didn't know what
scared.
else I would do if I couldn't live there. I didn't tell them. Of course, I didn't tell them. Why would I tell them?
Eli, I need you to know I'm an expert on these things, and that is coercive control and manipulation.
I'm
That is somebody lent you money for your rent. That is someone just being a controlling psycho
I'm
and
no
calling it
expert. I'm no
generosity.
expert, but
I am.
For all those listening in from home, this has been sarcasm. One thing I think that I'd love to hear you guys talk about with community is it's just the kind of the realization of just the conversation about consumption and shared resources
Hmm.
and that aspect of it, because I think that that's something that people just don't even, it's so ingrained that people don't even consider the implication of that.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that becomes even more obvious to me, like in a city and stuff, when I look around at um being in a city, you look around and there's a million different kinds of households, and most of them are one or two people living in them, statistically speaking. And so then it's a refrigerator for one person or maybe two. It's trash for one person, maybe two. It's water and electricity and all of these like resources and everything for one person, maybe two, maybe if you have kids, some kids, typically in most households. And it's kind of funny because it's like you you just save so much even on those basic things when you do communal living, because most people aren't um, taking up all of that. But it's like here's your little island, and here's your little island, and here's your little island, and that little island needs to have every single thing about it functional for like a tiny little functional island unto itself. And it's like it just isn't efficient in any of those areas. Eli?
yeah. I think about that all the time. Like, uh, every time I move into a new place and there isn't stuff there, I but like we're buying things, if I get a house, if business or something calls me to some other city, we get a lease or something like that. And then you start outfitting a house, it's like it gets so repetitive. And then I think like, wow, like how many of these things have I bought and then just like either put in a box somewhere never to be seen again, or whatever. But then I also have the experience of uh, going to a place where there is a house and there happens to be like a bedroom that's like available for people who are traveling, and like just the I guess, yeah, the savings, the utility, but also like the amount of weight it takes off the mind to not have an entire house full of my stuff, like I don't know, I guess it's been a while since I had like my own apartment or something like that. And then, the other side of it is funny because like then you go to like Airbnbs, you stay at an Airbnb and like they say, oh, we've got everything you need, but then you look in the kitchen and it really isn't, and so there's something about like actually like living in a place, fully inhabiting it, but then it adds, which adds a certain feeling of love to it, right? That like an Airbnb is sort of sterile, doesn't have that. But then if you add community to that, then it takes on this whole other dimension. So I feel like it's sort of like the advanced level of like house creating, where like you can create your own house of like little, like a little, like this, slice out a little for yourself. And then there's like, which feels good. Like you said, like we kind of, default to isolation, right? And so it's like you've got yours at that point, but then to be able to share it in that way and then to have it be cared for by other people and share with other people, it's like it's a really nice adaptation, I think, to have lived into for me.
Yeah, and it makes it impossible the aim can't be comfort. Like the highest aim when you live in community can't be comfort.
Right.
It's not that it's never a consideration, but it can't be the highest aim. And then so your household, like if I lived alone, I would totally end up making my house, the whole aim of my house would be like mostly like comfort somehow. Like, but like when there's a lot of other people's desires and all the things, and how do you find the spot together and all of that, the aim it almost has to be some kind of liberation just because you're doing it together.
Well, and
but
you
there's
end
a
up getting
different
so much
feeling to the whole
more.
house.
You end up getting so much more. It's like someone I live with has like this whole matcha tea set, and I'm like, I would never. But like maybe I will actually learn matcha,
Is it
or
Leah?
you know,
Is it Leah Mendelsohn?
yeah, of course it is. Or like I walk by, like I live with Aubrey, and like I walk by Aubrey's room, and I'm like, wow, that's like a nice little glow in there, and I'll say something. I'm like, Aubrey, your room has a nice glow, and she'll be like, it's this light bulb. And then I guess what came today from Amazon for me. We both actually do need our own light bulbs. That is one thing that you
Phillips Hue light
right.
bulb. That's your
But
middle
now I've
name.
learned I've learned about this thing that I probably wouldn't have really gotten into, and it actually is going to make my room feel better. So there you go.
There we go. Community rules. Um, a comment from the chat. How Harold says that Aubrey, you are a stellar microeconomist. You should teach a class on this, and Eli, you too, and that you two could
Oh
wreck,
no. We know.
could wreck the consumption economy.
Yeah. Thanks, Harold.
Really beautiful. His house also has 2 kitchen sinks in it.
I love knowing that.
Fantastic. Okay, so I feel like this is a great place for us to end here. I do feel compelled to kind of have a final just like impromptu segment, just really brief for each of you. If there is a kind of departing
But
tip,
Eli has to go first.
yes, departing tip that both of you have in a just an Eros tip that you guys want to leave people with for the week. And so it could be an Eros relating tip, it could be an Eros creativity tip, it could be an Eros genius tip, something that you want to leave people with as something that they could practice or think about, contemplate in their life as something to improve, enhance, inform, turn on their experience of this life. Eli, you first.
Yep, great question. The one that keeps this is maybe a sort of Tibetan Buddhism Eros overlap, but relax, relax, relax. That no matter what is happening or where you are, relax, relax, relax. And I will say also that one is the third crossover on that is our good friend Dr. Robert, who passed away peacefully this last week, but who would also regularly remind us that you can actually relax and greet everything inside of you with love.
I like that. Mine's a little bit intense. This is what came to me. Okay. So I'm not saying go get yourself canceled. I'm not saying that. But But like all things, there's like micro versions and macro versions. And the micro version of getting oneself canceled is usually just there's some places in your life where you may be afraid to be yourself fully or tell the truth about something or stand up for something that you know is right. And you've decided this is acceptable, and I'm saying maybe it's not. And so maybe like a micro cancel. Go be honest about that thing. Don't sell out on yourself in that spot. Stand up for the thing that you actually know is right in that place where you're a little bit afraid to do it. That's mine.
Amen. Amen. Thank you. And thank you all for joining us today. That was today's conversation on the Eros revolution. If you have any topics or trends that are happening in the media that you want the Eros point of view on, let us know. You can DM us on Eros platform on Instagram, or you can email us on our website. And that is all. We'll be back Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern time. And until then, stay turned on. Goodbye.